Yes, welcome to main chat. So tonight we are going to be talking about understanding pH and the impact that it has on our hair. And so if you have not caught any of the live main chats prior to tonight, I highly recommend that you go back and catch parts 1 through 6. Actually, part 1 might not be available because Facebook is now starting to delete not just my lives, but they're starting to delete lives after 30 days. And so I download them and then repost them and pin them on the top of my page so that all of the new followers, viewers can go back and catch those replays. So, last week we were on part 6 and we talked about healthy hair and the characteristics of our unique hair. And we talked about some of those characteristics, such as your elasticity, um, I'm not prepared. Let me go look back through my notes. Our characteristics, all our hair is unique in different curls, patterns. They can be tight, kinky, coily. We talked about the shine versus sheen, and it's not a indicator that your hair is not healthy. Not all hair shines, and based off the light reflection, all of those things. So that was just to kind of recap a little bit more what we talked about last week. And so as I was closing, I was sharing that as I was learning about pH myself, it really made me love and appreciate the brand Curl Mix, because that's all that I exclusively use on my hair, because it's such wonderful products. They're natural, they're organic, they're water-based, they're botanical. They don't just sit on your hair and suffocate your strands. They wash out easily. And not only that, you can use the products outside of wash and go. Since I got my hair cut in January, I've been wearing flat twists, and I still use my wash and go products to create my flat twist. And that's what you see today. So as I was learning about it, I really appreciated Curl Mix, because the CEO, Kim Lewis, on one of her lives that I was watching some time ago, she was sharing that she's very particular about the type of ingredients that she used in her products with her chemist, because um, different products can range in pH. And the higher the pH, the not so great benefits it caused to your hair. And she's very particular about that. And all of their products, which I haven't personally tested, but they make low pH products. So let's get into it. So what is pH? That is the question. What is pH? And if you are just joining, please make sure you let me know where you are checking in from. Say hi, Coach Trell, and let me know what you're sipping on tonight. I am drinking organic pineapple and ginger juice. It's actually quite good now that it's cold, because it was a little tart earlier when I made a video about it. And water. I always need your water. So, what is pH? pH is a measurement of ions in water-based solutions. And those ions are charged particles, and they can either be positive or negative. So I'm going to I'm put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. So positive ions are known as cation, and negative ions are known as anion. So I'm going to put that in the chat, because I'm like, what? Yeah, that's some very scientific stuff, y'all. So that is cation, and the negative is known as an anion. All right. So that is what your pH is. So your pH can be on a negative spectrum or it can be on a positive spectrum. So the surface of our hair, the surface of our hair is slightly negative. And hair responds well to positive positive ions such as conditioning agent. So basically, it's opposites attract. Hi, Sharon, checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So it's opposites attract. So our hair is slightly negative, but our hair responds well to positive ions. So the pH of a substance is specifically indicates the amount of positive hydrogen cations and negative hydroxide anions in a solution. I know that was a lot. So I'll say that again. Let me get something to drink because my throat sounded a little dry. So the pH of a substance is specific. It indicates the amount of positive hydrogen cations and the negative hydroxide anions in a solution or product. And so you can actually buy pH balance test strips from your local drugstore. I'm pretty sure Walmart, Amazon, you can find them. And basically, any solution that is water based, you can test them. You can test it and see what are the pH levels. So, acidic, when the concentration of hydrogen ions are higher, a solution is considered acidic. So substances with a low pH reading, because your pH scale, it has a range. So a low pH reading is between 0 and 6.9 is acidic. Our hair and skin is covered by a thin acidic film known as acidic mantle. And healthy hair and skin both have acidic mantles, and we have a pH normal range between 4 and 5.5. So I told y'all this can be a little. So I don't know. You might want to get your notes, some scratch papers, start putting in your phone. But you can always go back and catch the replay. So things like that, I kind of like repeat them so you can be like, so it kind of connects. So when the concentration of hydrogen ions are higher, a substance is considered acidic. So the higher the pH, the more acidic it is. Substances with a low pH have a reading range of 0 to 6.9. We have a our hair and skin has a thin layer of acidic mantle. So we naturally have a acidic mantle, and healthy hair and skin both we carry it, and that pH ranges from a 4 to a 5.5 range. So that's considered normal range for healthy skin and hair. So, how do we maintain a healthy pH range? So, maintaining our acidic mantle is extremely important for our hair. Our hair, it responds to pH uh, almost instantly. Low pH substances affect the hair shaft by constricting the cuticle layers. So think about a low pH substance affects the hair shaft by constricting them, meaning it closes. So think about our cuticle layers when we talked about our hair structure, and how the cuticle layer, which is that outside layer of those shingle, like that shingle like building block, it constrict those with low pHs. So it would be the opposite with high pH. It really opens up those cuticle layers, which is not healthy, especially on a consistent basis. But we'll get into that. So the pH, it affects our cuticle layers. It causes the cuticle layers to lie flat and tightly against each other. So that's that constricting. While the cuticle layer is closed tightly, the inner cortex of the hair strand is thoroughly protected. And so if you are like, what is this girl talking about? Then I recommend, I thought, I thought I wrote a quick note. Apparently I didn't. I recommend that you go back to part 4. And I don't have that date. I got to get, I recommend 226. So February 26th, we talked about understanding our hair structure. So when you hear me talk about the cuticle layers and the cortex and different hair structure, go back to that part. Go back to that episode. That way you'll gain a better understanding. Because I told you guys, when we started Main Chat, we're building a foundation. So we started from the beginning, which is our scalp. That's the foundation. And we've worked our way up. So now we are talking about the pH and how it's affecting our hair strands. So while the low pH, it constricts our hair cuticles, closing them tightly, making that cortex, which is that inner layer of the hair, nicely protected. This allows the hair strand to move freely past one another. The hair shaft surface, it feels better, it reflects light better, and it may create that shine or sheen. So if you're someone like, my hair doesn't shine, it gets entangled, it's dry, it's matted, it's just unmanageable, this may be a pH problem. And we're going to get more into it, but this is a great time to assess your hair, especially if you're having if there's things feel weird, it's unmanageable, it's like, we used to be like, I don't have good hair. We all have good hair. It just may be your routine. It could be your products. So, hopefully, you guys, this helped. Let me check the chat. Make sure now I haven't got any comments that I missed, which I usually do. Usually, when I go back and look through the live, I'll be like, I didn't even see this comment. But if you're just joining, let me know where you are checking in from. All right. Where did I leave off? All right. So now so that's the acidic range. Now let's talk about the alkaline. So when the concentration of hydroxide, you say yes, I did. You're welcome. So when the concentration of the hydroxide ions is higher, the substance is considered alkaline or basic with a pH range of 7.1 to 14. High pH substances cause the cuticle layers to lift. The hair shell begins to swell and open. Um, the example is when our hair reacts to water, it's due to the alkalinity. So hair is naturally acidic, but when water interacts with the hair shaft, the cuticle layer slightly reacts to the water because water is has a more alkaline pH. Water is roughly 100 times more alkaline than our hair. So that is why hair essentially reacts to water in the way it does, because remember, we have a natural pH range of our skin and hair. And so that water has a slightly higher pH. So lifted cuticles can be responsible again if you're having tangled hair, if it's looking dry, you don't have any shine or sheen. And we know shine is like that glossy look versus sheen can be like more like a matte. It has a little, it's not bright shiny. Like if you put like oil sheen, it's gonna be like, ooh, that's shiny. Versus like a natural sheen. And if your hair's not holding moisture well, those, it could be your products. Possibly. This is, there's no one size fit all. So when we're talking about our hair, especially if it's in a unhealthy state, unmanageable state, we have to start doing some hair assessments. How is our hair responding to water? What is it doing? How does it look when it's wet? How does it look when it's dry? What type of products are you using? Are you using the wrong products too often? Are you not using enough of the good stuff? It can be a variety of things. So it's not like, oh, my hair is matted, my hair is tangled, it won't hold moisture, my pH is off. It could be that. It's a possibility. But let's start to do some hair assessments and take notes. And while I'm on the note of taking notes, I am wearing one of my girlfriends' brand. Janelle, she is a curl mixer, a girlfriend, and she created this app called Crown Chronicles because she saw a need for us as naturals to be able to track our hair journey. Some of us write notes. Some of us want something more digital where we can go pull up an app, and she created it. There was like sources out there, but they didn't allow you to like post pictures. It didn't already have like products preloaded. And the app is phenomenal. It's free. You can download it on Apple or Android, and it's in your Apple Store or your Google. Is it Google Play? I think Google Play Store. But it's a free app, and it's a great tool to have to track your hair journey. You can do your hair, post your pictures. You can rate your hair. You can what day I'm on, what style I did, how long it took. It's great. So when we're talking about assessing our hair and documenting our journey, the Crown Chronicles app is a great source to use. And this is not a paid live stream by Crown Chronicles or Curl Mix, but those are two tools and resources that I use literally almost every day. I'm getting back into my Crown Chronicles app because I'm back to really tracking my journey. So these are tools and resources that I use, and so I'm sharing it with you because I have a personal experience with it. So that's when the cuticle layer is lifted, it can be responsible for again tangles, dry hair, matted hair with lack of shine, sheen, and it's not holding moisture. When the cuticle is lifted, the cortex is exposed and the hair becomes weaker and more vulnerable. So it's important for the pH of the hair to be normalized or return to its normal, and that normal range is about a 4 to a 5.5, which is that acid mantle that's considered for healthy hair and skin. So that is that normal range. After using high alkaline products. So these using high pH products can damage the hair shaft, and so it can cause damage to the hair shaft if not corrected, meaning that you bring those pH levels back down to a normal state. The cuticle is open and exposed, and so we want to make sure that we're closing our cuticles. And so how do we close our cuticles? Like, what are you talking about, Coach Trell? So our shampoo and conditioner. Why I feel like I'm missing a page? I am missing a page. Anywho. Yeah. I'm missing a page. Why didn't it print it off? Give me 1 second. Maybe it's still on the print. Nope. This last week episode. I don't know. I told y'all I wasn't organized. I was not prepared. Sorry, y'all. So our pH is, so our products change our pH. And when we think about our shampoos are they're higher in pH because our shampoos are designed to cleanse our hair and scalp. We're going to take a deeper dive into the different types of shampoos. But different shampoos have higher pHs, and the stronger your shampoo, the higher your pH. But that is where our conditioner comes in. Our conditioner is a lower pH, and it's bringing that pH level back down. And we know that our conditioner, it helps smooth our cuticles back down, and it also constrict our cuticles. So that's why your conditioner is important. Like, both of them are important. You need the shampoo to cleanse your hair. But if you're using a clarifying shampoo all the time, you're constantly using high pH shampoo, and it's recommended to use shampoos and conditioners of the same line because they are formulated to work together, if that makes sense. And I'm mad because my notes was talking more about that, and I can't find it. Or maybe was that a different episode? I don't know. I forgot. I forgot. I just didn't prepare. I'm not prepared. So those are some of the impacts that your pH levels can have on your hair. Our shampoos and conditioners, they are the ones that your shampoo is going to have a higher pH, and then that conditioner is going to bring that pH level down. Oils and alcohols do not have a pH because they do not have water. So remember, in the beginning, I said that your pH is a measurement of ions in a water-based solution. So oil and alcohol do not have water in them. They're not water-based. So you will not be so it does not have a pH. So oils and alcohol do not have a pH because they are not water-based, and they are neither positive or negative. I am missing because this was a yeah, I'm so sorry, y'all. I gotta do better. I gotta do better. And you know what it is? Not no excuse. But I sub, and right now I'm on a long term 6 week subbing assignment. And um I have Wednesdays off typically. But since we were technically on like a teacher's planning day on Monday, and I'm not technically a teacher, so I still had that day off. I chose to work today, so I won't have like 3 days instead of four. And Wednesdays is usually like when I prepare, and so I still had to work. My daughter's trying out for cheerleading practice, or trying out for cheerleading. So we had to go through that, and I had to cook dinner, and I was literally like trying to mix some gravy up before I ran up here. So I apologize in advance. But I don't have my stuff together, and I don't like that. Cause I was reading through this today. That's why. Cause I was like, okay. So I was fun to get into, cause this episode is going to continue on next week. Cause I was fun to get into something. I was like, hold up, where's my notes? Like I don't. Okay. So I'm glad. So I am prepared, but my mind be moving fast, and I find myself giving more information before I need to give it, so I can kind of make sure it's organized. I read somewhere or see it on a live class where curl mix daydream line is used to fix slash restore pH levels. I don't know. I haven't heard about fixing your pH because um our shampoos and conditioners. Now I will say, because I think that was a question that I had before, when the Daydream line dropped, and like most of Curl Mix shampoos are deep cleansing or clarifying. Outside of like the Honey Hydration and the Masters Collection shampoo, all the Curl Fresh shampoos are fairly deep cleansers. And so when the Daydream line dropped, I remember asking or posting like, "Do I really need the shampoo? Like, I got enough clarifying shampoos. Like, I'm gonna have shampoos for forever and a day, because a clarifying shampoo is not a shampoo that you would use on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, like, you shouldn't be using it every wash day. That is a shampoo that you use kind of like once a month or as needed, depending on the type of products that you're using. But Miss Coach Kathy recommended, she was like, get the whole kit. So when I started learning about the pH, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense why it was recommended to get the kit, because the shampoos and conditioners work together. Um, but far as the Daydream line used to fix or restore pH, I wouldn't say, from my understanding and the use of the product, I would say no. The Daydream line, it has a scalp rejuvenator, so it helps like cleanse your scalp more. It have like some, um, I think orange peel and some good stuff to like stimulate your scalp. Um, of course, the shampoo is clarifying, and then when you bring the conditioner in, it's going to break it down. But our pH level, it change based off of the type of products we use and the type of ingredients that the manufacturer or the brand uses. And as I shared earlier and last week, Curl Mix use low pH products. So that's why I say no to the Daydream line fixing or restoring pH, because Curl Mix use low pH products. Even though like they have clarifying shampoos, they're still on a lower pH spectrum compared to some of the other stuff that's out there. So hopefully that answered your question. I didn't confuse you anymore. All right. So there is a pH scale range that you can go Google and you can see what that range looks like based off of different things like do I excuse me. Why is definitely a page missing from this? Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so maybe in my actual like handwritten note, because I was like, I know that I copied down the scale, but I think for this purposes, I how I broke the scale down is how it affects the hair based off of your pH. So okay, so the pH scale range, and you can Google it and actually pull it up. They vary. When you're talking about numbers and variation, it's always going to be something is going to be a little off from the other source you may. But this is just an ideal range. So the range goes from 0 to 14. 0 being on the low end, and 14 is on that very high end. I'm gonna just say you want to avoid the 14. Like that's too much. Um, but in the center of the scale, when you look at the scale, there's a neutral pH, and so that neutral pH is 7. And so pure water, H2O, is a substance with a neutral pH. Water is neutral because it's both 50% acidic and 50% alkaline. So it has one positive anion and it has one negative ion. So water is neutral. Um, so yeah. And so these are some of the effects that the pH can have on your hair. Um, so yeah, I definitely recommend y'all go pull up the pH scale so you can like it actually like lists the like different things like far as like apple cider vinegar. That's on the high pH. What was on the low end? Oh, I should have printed it out. But you can Google it. So 0 to 1, hair is dissolved and um this in string what did I say? This astringates completely. I feel like I said that wrong. So the hair is it dissolves. It'll dissolve easily. Between a 2 and a 4, the hair cuticle tightens and constricts. The cuticle layers are closed. Hair porosity decreases and shine is enhanced. So that's between a 2 and a 4. That 4.5 to 5.5, that's a normal pH for your hair and skin. And so with that normalcy, it's gonna be shine and very luxurious. When we get between that 5.5 to 10, the hair begins to swell, the cuticle begins to lift. As the pH increases, the hair shaft incurs and increases the amount of damage. Lipids are lost from the hair. So remember, our hair is made up of lipids and proteins and fats and all of fatty acids and all of those nutritional components that makes up our hair. Um, and also, a lot of those things are found in great conditioners, such as Girl Speaks conditioners. So it has a lot of those things. When you start to get in that 5.5 to 10 pH range, you start to lose those lipids. your hair that's when it becomes more unmanageable. Um, you losing that shine. Um, it's heading to a not so great place. And then at a 13 to 14, the hair begins to dissolve. And that don't sound good. So even hmm. So when it's a 0 to 1, the hair is dissolved, and this I can't say this word, disintegrates. That's the word. I'm like, why do? Okay, so hair is dissolved and disintegrates completely. So that's a 0 to 1. When it's to a 13 to 14, the hair begins to dissolve. Um, so that's kind of a visual, kind of what that looks like from a pH scale. So when you're thinking about your products, when you're thinking about what you're using on a consistent basis, you definitely want to stay in kind of in the like you want to stay between that 4.5 to 5.5 range. Like that's the normal range. That's the healthy state. Um, the a low pH, I mean, it can be damaging. It can have negative effects. I don't want to say damaging. It can have negative effects, and also on a high pH, it can also have negative effects. So, too much of anything is bad, and not enough of something is bad as well. Basically, okay. So that was a mouthful. Talking it was very sciencey. Like you had to like think about like the periodic table and different things. Like at least for me, that's what it was because that was one of those things I had to like. It took me some time to process and like think about it and I'm like, oh, okay. But our pH also it affects our porosity. That was one of those hair characteristics that we discussed last week, and I want to say in about 2 more weeks we'll get more into hair porosity, but your pH, your hair pH also affects your porosity. And so we talked about our cuticles being constricted and tightly closed. We put those people in the low porosity, low normal porosity range. Like basically, porosity is how your hair absorbs water. For those that have very, very tight cuticles, your hair is like, nope, I ain't letting the water in. Nope, I ain't letting it in. Nope, I ain't letting it in. And then after a while, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give in. All right, I'm gonna let the water in. And then as your hair becomes, as your porosity be, if it's especially on the low end. When I first started, I had very low porosity hair, and it took my hair like 15 good minutes for it to really absorb water the way that I needed it to. Now I'm in that normal range, about 5 to 7 minutes tops. My hair is literally soaking, drenching wet. When we talk about high porosity, as we stated, when you're using high pH products, it really lifts that cuticle. It exposes that cortex. Um, that means the cuticle is open. That means the water is going in. Like it takes no time for your hair to accept the water. It's just not retaining it. And literally, as soon as you come from under the water, you feel like your hair is bone dry. You go back under the water and be like, oh, my hair is wet. And you come back and it's dry. So that is how the hair strand is affected by the pH, which is that constricts or uh, lifts the cuticle layers. Told y'all it was a lot. It was a lot. But that is basically what pH is. And most, again, any type of water, any product that has a water based solution, you can test your pH. And you can buy what are the strips called? Laminate laminate test strips, I believe that's what they're called. You can buy them from your local not grocery store, drugstore. So like your Walgreens or CVS. I'm pretty sure they're at Walmart, Target. I think we when I say y'all boy contact because I don't want to shop at Target. Target's too expensive for me. But for those that shop at Target, they probably at Target, or you can order them on Amazon. So if you're just curious about your pH and not just your products but your water, the water that you may buy from the store, the water that come out your faucet, definitely test it and see. And you may be more surprised than you think you are. So if you have any questions on Amazon too, far as the boycott or getting the test strips. Yeah, but from my understanding about the boycott thing, and I saw a post, but it was supposed to be like this week we boycotting this one, this week we doing that one, and I didn't save it, and so I'm all confused. I'm all confused. But if you don't have any questions, um, that is understanding pH. Oh, the test strips, yeah. And I think I'm going to buy some just just to play around and experiment. Because I told y'all, well, not didn't tell y'all, but this not y'all first time interacting with me. But when I'm teaching my master classes, that's one of the things that I always emphasize with the newbies or even the OGs or the seasoned naturals, the seasoned curl mixers. Experiment. You don't know what you like or dislike. Your hair, you can't tell what your hair like or dislike until you experiment with it. You get to know your hair, play with it. And so I like to experiment. So I would probably definitely be buying some test strips and probably going live and just testing products. I only have like 99.9% of all of my products are curl mix products. And so I don't anticipate, which I may be surprised, but I don't anticipate them to have high pHs simply because curl mix is very thoughtful and thorough about what type of ingredients and products that they use. And so, the better the quality of the product, the more you're going to spend. And so a lot of these big brands, um, big corporation product companies, hair product companies, they go for cheaper and you get less quality. And with less quality, you get not so great products. So, um, it's just something to keep in mind. When I was learning about the pHs, I remember one of our girlfriends, she was high porosity. Um, she was high porosity. And I asked her after I was blending this and how the pH it affects your porosity. And with using great products with low pH, curl mix, I messaged her and I was like, hey, have you know, because she was using curl mix before I was, but I don't know what state her hair was in when she joined curl mix, but I think we've been using it about the same amount of time. And I was like, hey, like, have you noticed a difference in your porosity since you started your journey? And she was like, I don't know. I was like, okay. And shortly later, she messaged me back. She was like, yeah, I have. Like, my hair, it absorbs water better. I feel like my porosity has changed since I've been using these products. And I was like, see, curl mix make low pH products because if not, then she would still be in a high porosity. Hi, Miss Sandra. It's okay. It's okay. We was just getting ready to wrap it up. So the replay will be available. Um, but that let me know that Curl Mix make low pH products because she went from having high porosity hair where her hair was not absorbing. I mean, it took the water in, but it wasn't hanging on to it. And to now, like, she said she's like at a normal porosity. Now she's color treated, and so when we anytime we lift our hair, put any type of chemicals to it, it changes your your hair structure, your hair structure as far as your cortex. It lifts those cuticle layers, and so even then, that's something to think about. So if you're already um your hair is not in a healthy state, you don't have a hair routine, you're using the wrong type of products, you're not using enough of the good stuff, and then you decide, oh, I'm gonna put some color on my hair. That's like a horrible combination. Like you're asking for um extreme damage. So understanding your pH and how it affects your hair and the products that we're using is a great start when you're talking about wanting to be on a healthy hair journey. So that is my spiel for tonight. And next Wednesday, um, we will be we'll be exploring more about hair porosity and hard water. Hair porosity and hard water. This is kind of like I do my episodes like part one so I can know where to reference the viewers back to for those that come in late and they're like, what's she talking about? Go back to part one. We were talking about, the foundation of the scalp. Go back to part six. We were talking about hair bonds or whatever that is. So this week and next week kind of go together. That's why I was like, I was supposed to talk about hard water. That's next week. So next week we're going to get into hard water because hard water affects our pH. And one of our coaches, she shared a link, but you could probably Google like how to test hard water or pull up a link to see what your hard water in your areas. But hard water affects our pH, and that also affects the the yeah, I can't get it together. The mechanics of our hair and the structure and the feel and all of those dynamics. Hard water affects that, and then there's shampoos out there that helps with that. Again, that affects it has a higher pH. So all of this kind of is going together week to week. So I definitely, if you're just joining, please go back, catch the replay. Google pH scale, and you'll see what that range is. That 0 to 14 range. You'll see like what different I don't want to say products, but different ingredients or drinks, or I say drinks because people drink apple cider vinegar. I remember seeing apple cider vinegar on there, and it's definitely on a higher pH. So yeah, definitely go take a look at that. Let's finish this conversation on this page under. I mean, I guess it don't matter. Well, you can definitely comment under the events. So yeah, let's finish this conversation offline, and we'll be picking up next week. We'll be talking about we'll get into our porosity and hard water. So yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so that is all I have for tonight. And I almost kept it at an hour. I was like 3 minutes late. So we're doing good on time. Again, I appreciate you all being here. Please make sure that you tag someone that you know may benefit from this information. Share the live. And have a wonderful Wednesday night. I am about to go have dinner Because my goal is to try to eat before 10 o'clock, but it's definitely, well, it's 9:08 where I'm at. I'm in Florida on the east time zone. So I'm going to go have dinner, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you all in the chat. Until next time, this is Main Chat.